Star Wars Skeleton Crew episodes 1 and 2 are officially out, and here is my quick review on both of the premiere episodes. Now, really quickly, I am very aware that the first 2 episodes of Skeleton Crew came out a couple of weeks ago, but I have personally had a crazy last couple of months, and this is my official return to the channel. About a week ago, I did a live stream on the channel catching up on all the news I missed in my absence, and this is the first video back on the channel. I'm finally settled down and back on the YouTube grind and ready to keep putting out Star Wars content, keeping up with all the news coming out, and of course, keeping up with reviews for new shows such as Skeleton Crew. So again, I know this is kind of old news, but if you still want to hear my review, make sure to stick around. I'm glad to have you here. Without further ado, here are my thoughts on Skeleton Crew episodes 1 and 2. Now, Skeleton Crew is a show I've actually been pretty excited to see for a while now, since the announcement, and since we kind of got plot details for the show when it was announced, it sounded fun. Now, going into Skeleton Crew, once we started getting pictures and videos, and we kind of knew that it was going to be this more kid-centric show, my excitement didn't waver at all, but I do want to say that I didn't know what to expect. They were obviously going the kid protagonist route. It was going to be a little bit more childish in tone, it seemed, but still have that Star Wars feel to it. And this is something I had no issue with. I know a lot of other people in the community feel the same way, while others are kind of turned off by this, which is totally okay. I understand why a kid-centric Star Wars show, live action at least, may not be every Star Wars fan's go-to, especially in a time like this with such divisive content coming out. Like, this comes right off the back of The Acolyte. So regardless of how you feel about The Acolyte, you can't ignore the fact that it was very divisive, and for this to come off the back of that, it was a rough time for this show to come out, and that's why I myself was even a little bit on the fence, like, alright, after The Acolyte, how is this show gonna go? And I'm glad to say that I am pleasantly surprised so far. Not that I didn't think the show was going to be good, but again, just that different, more childish tone in a live-action Star Wars show left me a little bit confused on how this was gonna go. But again, pleasantly surprised. I cannot wait for the following episodes. Now, what I liked about it so much was exactly what they kind of marketed it as, which was this kind of lighthearted children's adventure through the galaxy, and that's exactly what they gave us in episodes 1 and 2. It shows these kids going through normal, everyday life, going to school, having friends, having little crushes in class and whatnot, worrying about tests and studying, and their world is flipped upside down when they discover this thing in the woods and are taken off on this old starship that has been buried underneath their planet's ground. Which, as simple as a plot point as that is, it's the basis for a lot of older stories and movies and television. Putting the Star Wars brand on it and putting a lot of Star Wars elements scattered throughout it feels just right. It was fun, it was laid back, like I said, and even though these kids are kind of goofy and of course childish, you kind of have a care for these characters right off the bat because everybody can relate to them. Whether you are watching this show and you are those characters' age, or you're somebody my age or older who can look back on their childhood and kind of relate to the things that these kids are going through, even though they are in a galaxy far, far away. Which brings me to my next point, being the comparisons to this planet they're on to kind of this real life we see now on Earth, or whatever you want to say. And that has come as a big point of criticism for the show, especially when the trailer came out and they had that opening scene with the kind of suburban area. I will say that did throw me off, but seeing it contextualized in the show, it's tasteful. And yes, it is kind of drawing you out of it because you're like, oh, they're mowing a lawn, they're walking dogs. But it's Star Wars-ified, and that's okay, that's cool. Again, this show is super laid back and non-consequential, at least so far, to the greater story of Star Wars. And who says there isn't a planet out there like this that exists? Now, going into episode 2, they kind of explain this a little bit, I think, and put some more context towards this planet. They are in this barrier, they're very sheltered, they still use these old Republic credits, and once they kind of interact with these pirates, they're like, yeah, right, you're not from this planet, that planet full of riches and mystery, and it sounds like people have been trying to go to this planet forever. So maybe it is a thing to where these people living on this planet have finally found a way to adapt and survive and thrive and make these technological advancements that are comparable to what us humans have in modern times on Earth. So I'm interested to see how they flesh out the story of this planet and maybe give a little more context to why it is so similar to real life. Even if they didn't decide to go that route and make this planet some mystery treasure land, still not a big deal having it be kind of modern suburban, because again, who says that can't exist out in the galaxy? And at the same time, it is also different enough from what we experience in real life. It is totally Star Warsified. Their tests are similar to ours, but different enough to where I didn't know what they were studying. It sounded like when they talked about tables, I'm like, oh, times tables? And they took a totally different route. They kind of hook you with something you're familiar with and then put the Star Wars on top, and you're like, oh, that's weird. That's new. I don't know what they're talking about. Maybe it isn't so similar to real life, which is kind of cool, and I really liked that. But other than those main points that I just made, this show, again, just overall was a really fun watch. The opening sequence of the first episode was really good. I almost kind of want to go back and rewatch the first 5 to 10 minutes of the first episode just because of the visuals, the action. Everything looked really good and felt super Star Warsy, which I know may sound crazy to some of you, but we have not been getting the most Star Wars feeling Star Wars the last couple of projects, and this was a very nice breath of fresh air. A crazy space battle with those claws hammering into the other ship, the pirates boarding, the battle, the explosions, everything just looked really well done. Some of the best visuals we've seen in Disney Plus Star Wars in a while. So that alone was enough to hook me. And then, the charm and the charisma of the characters and the kind of cutesy story kept me going. And now it seems like they are really deep into this adventure by the end of the second episode, where we get a look at Jude Law's character. Unsure if he is a Jedi yet or not, or if he has just found a way to tap into the Force. I guess we'll see in episode 3. But again, the first 2 episodes have hooked me way better than I thought it was going to be. I am super invested in this, and if they keep going at this rate, this may be one of my favorite Star Wars shows that they have done. But that is about all I have to say about Skeleton Crew episodes 1 and 2. Normally for Disney Plus Star Wars shows, I would go a little bit more in depth and kind of break down the episode and give my deep thoughts on it. But with this being such a kind of carefree series, again, as of now at least, I'm just kind of looking at it at the surface level and gonna be telling just my basic likes and dislikes when each of these episodes come out. But again, episodes 1 and 2, amazing so far, and I can't wait to see where they take this story. But now I am done talking. I want to hear what you thought about Skeleton Crew episodes 1 and 2. Did you like it? Did you not? Why or why not? Also, while you're at it, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.